I forgot to say it in the beginning of the last episode, so I'm saying it now. This podcast is going to be called A Year Ahead. So welcome to A Year Ahead. I believe the only time capsule podcast where every episode was recorded a year from when it was released. And we're live. Oh boy. The whole point of this podcast is to document what's going on in my life and just do it with a time delay. And the reason I want the time delay is so that I can talk about things that may otherwise not be good to talk about in the moment that they're happening. So relationally, professionally, or personally, there are things that go on that maybe you want to talk about and you want to share as a relevant experience in your life. But for me, occasionally, if there's something happening or there's something going on that I'm thinking about with particular people, usually revolves around people, I don't necessarily want to put a piece of content out there that directly talks about the person, where I may have to see them in the next day, and then that's how they discover the problem, as opposed to me just having a conversation with them, ending the relationship, whatever it may end up actually being. So the whole purpose of this is to still be able to share my relevant life experience. This is less of this is what I want to do right now, and this is more my understanding of the importance of documenting my journey for 15 years from now or 20 years from now, when you can look back and say, this is what he went through personally as a human being, and then combine that with the episodes that I'm going to be doing that are more tactical, that are more usable in the short term, where I'm going to be talking about what I'm actually doing in my life and business to make things better. But this is more of an opportunity for me to share more things that are going on in my heart, more things that are going on in my mind, the personal struggles, the personal wins and accomplishments and things of that nature that I really do want to talk about, but may not necessarily be great in the moment, because I think a lot, and a lot of the things that I think about may not be how I want things conveyed to other people in the short term. So I figured with a 1 year time delay, I would not be as worried about saying certain things with the fear of that being how somebody discovers it, because I can still say the things that I'm going to say, I can still think about the things I'm going to think about, but in the end, this episode is going to get released a year from now, and between now and then I have the time to handle the things that I might be thinking about or talking about. I handle things much faster than a year. I'm just saying, even 6 months, it might not be enough time for it to be stale. So that's why there's a 1 year time delay. So with that being said, I've got my coffee here. Let's open up the journal. I wrote yesterday a couple things that I wanted to talk about, update on, just to give a current read on how I think, or not how I think, but what's going on in my life right now. And there's a lot of really fun things. So to kind of lay out what's going on in my life right this moment, I wrote like a little intro segment here: revenue, athletic track record, profession, professional history, household situation, marital status, age. So I've currently done about $130,000 this year in revenue, which it's October 21st. It is Monday, October 21st at 6:35 in the morning. I've already been awake for about 2.5 hours now. But I've done about 130 grand this year in revenue, and take home is not that great. The profit margins are still super thin because I'm being super aggressive about spending pretty much every dollar that I bring in to continue to put myself forward, make myself better, find new clients, whatever. So profit margins aren't great, on top of already not being great being a creative agency, so that's been fun. But that's about what we've done so far. And when I say not great, I mean it's like under 20% take home, which is awesome. Athletic track record. I ran my first marathon back in April of this year. It's 2024. I ran my first ever marathon in April. I started running back in November of last year. And I ran my first ultra marathon, which was a 46-mile race, back in August, and we finished that race with 5 minutes to spare. My profession, I'm currently a photographer and a videographer, and I would like to think business owner, but currently it's more of an overglorified freelancer, essentially, at the end of the day. pro history, my professional history. I was a musical theater and performing arts kid up from 2014 up to 2019 or 2020 really, when I had to take a step back due to the industry taking a hard right turn, or I guess hard left turn, when during the pandemic, when that whole industry just decided that they were non-essential and that I would have to do a lot of things I didn't want to do in order to continue in the industry. And so I took a step back and moved in a different creative direction. My current household situation is I currently live with my parents. I have two wonderful, wonderful parents that have given me everything that I could possibly have wanted and needed, and more to pursue the opportunities in front of me. So extraordinarily grateful for that. But I currently live with them, and I currently live rent-free, which is stellar. But that's all about to change. It's going to be fun. We'll get into that. Marital status, single as hell, and age, I'm 22 years old. So, I guess to starting out with relationships, that seems to be one of the more prominent things going on in my life right now, or at least it was. At 22 years old, I feel like I know that I'm still young. Objectively speaking, I'm still very young. I still have a lot of time to find things and figure things out. But because of the speed at which I move in my day-to-day life, I still feel like I'm super, super, super behind, which sucks a little bit. But currently seeing somebody that I just don't feel super confident about. And honestly, why I'm still even pursuing that relationship is beyond me. I don't really see it going anywhere, simply because I'm just not as fired up about it as I was my previous situation. She has some bad habits to break and some growing up to do, but that's not really the worst of it. It's really just the energy. I don't feel like the energy is there. She's nice. She's great, but I just don't think the energy is there for what I'm looking to do. So if I'm looking down, for those of you watching on video, it's because I have notes in front of me that I wanted to hit. And so they're like kind of bullet points. It's like, looks like this. So in addition to just the energy not feeling great, I still don't feel like I've fully gotten over the last situation that I was in. I found this amazing, amazing woman in Nashville, unfortunately, so super far away. I live in Tampa right now, or Brooksville. But I found this incredible woman, and I thought I found the one, but she decided to leave, so that was unfortunate. But it really did do a number on me emotionally, and so because of that, I still feel somewhat attached to the outcome of that, meaning that I don't believe I've fully gotten over it. And so now with this other thing, I'm just like, the energy isn't there, and I'm not as fired up about it, and I don't know if I'm over the previous situation, which isn't particularly helpful for that. So I don't feel like it's fair to her, so I'll probably end that soon. In some self-reflection, something in my last situation that I felt, the one that I felt really good about, that I thought I'd found somebody that could be forever. She said she found my conviction and my beliefs attractive, not necessarily what they were, but the fact that I had them. She said she would rather somebody believe in something than nothing at all, and she found that incredibly attractive. And the standards that I held, the actions that I took that made me into the person that I wanted to be, that allowed me to be with her. And in hindsight, something that I did was, while I was with her, in the name of spending more time with her, I would let those things drop. I would go to bed later. I would wake up later. I wouldn't work nearly as much. I lacked the discipline when I went to going to the gym and doing things like that when I was with her specifically, just in the name of spending more time with her, where I should have prioritized myself and my own personal life, as opposed to prioritizing her in that moment, which I still don't feel like I was in the wrong. However, I do see how there's a world where maybe she thought, whether she actually intentionally thought these thoughts or not, that I was a different human being than the person that she liked the idea of. So that's some self-reflection, but that was something that happened recently that was super hurtful. But we're moving forward. We're moving on. And then this new one I asked out at an event that I was filming, and it was cool. It worked out well, but I just don't feel the energy. So, and then in a week and a half, I'm going out to a concert with a girl that I used to have a thing with, just because we were talking about, we still like communicate and text every now and then. And we were talking about this one artist that we think would be crazy live, and he's actually going to Tampa later this month, and tickets were like $35 or $25. And I was like, all right, let's do it. Why not? So I'm going to go to this concert with her. I don't even know what that's about. I have no idea what that's about. Like, what the hell is that about? I don't know. All right, well, that's kind of what's going on in my relationship world, which is complicated to say the least. Not complicated, just stupid. 22-year-old shit. Then in life, here's what's kind of going on. I'm touring homes Tuesday, which is tomorrow. I have a full day of touring. We got like 4 or 5 homes that we're going to go look at. A full day of events, 4 tours in that. Super, super excited. There's 2 homes that I'm particularly excited about. I believe they're the first 2 that I'm extraordinarily excited. No, it's the second one and the 4th one that I'm very, very excited about. We had one house that we thought we liked a lot, but there were a couple issues with it that we weren't super stoked on. So we're hoping to see if we can find something a little bit better that matches what we're looking for a lot better. But ultimately, touring houses, I'm going to move in with JB and Josh. 2 absolutely stand-up guys. JB is an amazing filmmaker. Josh is a gifted writer. And I'm very excited to be spending full time with them. It'll be nice to be in a household full of other people that are working towards something and actually trying to put their best foot forward, right? It's going to be awesome. Like I said, I currently live with my parents, and as amazing as that is, and as many phenomenal opportunities as I've been given by them, it is time for me to take full control of my own autonomous life, and that's the goal, and we'll see how that goes. Opportunities, job opportunities. This is a really interesting thing that's going on right now. I have 2 companies that are kind of fighting over me, and they're not fighting, like they don't know that each other exists, but I'm getting job offers from both, and I'm kind of rebuttaling to both and seeing what happens. The first one is with a company in Nashville, a label and a company, a startup label. The guy owns a startup label and a company, and I would be a videographer for both of them, doing a lot of like the head stuff, which is awesome, but they're offering me $65,000 a year, and as good of a salary as that is, I'm probably going to make double that in the next 12 months to 13 to 16 months, so it doesn't make a lot of sense for me to go with that route. But then there's the opportunity cost, which I'm thinking about, is like, how much could I learn from the 12 months there that would then, like, if it's going to take me 2 years to do something crazy, could I spend 12 months there and then do what I want to do in a year and then compound on top of that afterwards? I don't really know what that looks like. But I think I'm going to turn that job down, because I then started talking with a company called Public Square, and they are looking to hire me, and I named my requirements. I told them that I would only be able to take a job in their environment because of the revenue that I'm doing and the job offers that I've already turned down. I said I'm on track to make over 6 figures in the next 12 months. So I need you guys, that needs to be beat first and foremost for me to come here. And so they said they wanted to get me a job offer on the table, which means I'm guessing that they're probably going to offer me over that, which if they do, I'll probably take it if it's over 120 or 130. But again, like, how much could I learn even by taking a little? So if they offer me 100, should I take it? I think so. But I just am struggling with the idea of leaving the business that I have on hand, and I don't know if I'm employable in that way. I don't know if I could stand being in a corporate environment. We'll find out. But that's kind of what's going on, is I have these two companies that are offering me jobs, but I also use it as a reminder that I'm kind of doing the right thing, you know? Like, I think I'm doing the right thing by the skill sets that I've acquired, the ultimately just the skill sets that I've acquired. The being good at photography and being good at video, being good at editing, both photo and video, and being a good logistical operator and firefighter, I think is going to serve me super, super well in both of those environments. And so that's why I think these people are fighting over me right now. And it's just super interesting to watch, people want me. It's nice and refreshing because I haven't felt that way in a while. And so it's nice to be wanted by people. And it's just interesting. I'm using it as a good reminder that I'm doing the right thing, So that's what I'm looking at right now. I just implemented some work with a buddy of mine who's going to help me out with two things. One, he's actually the reason that I'm recording this episode right now. His name is Chris. He's a guy that I've run my 2 marathons with, and I'm going to support him later in November doing a 100-miler race. I was supposed to do that, but more on that later. He's going to be working with me on accountability. I essentially asked him, I said, hey, would you be down to manage my life and make sure that things happen? Because he does it already for his girlfriend who records weekly podcast episodes and is, building her own business. And I was like, man, it would be nice to just have somebody to be on my ass all the time and make sure that things got done. And so I asked him to do that, and he said, hell yeah, I want to see you win. So amazing for him. I appreciate him so much for doing that. He's the reason I'm recording this episode right now. Give all the credit to him for texting me last night, being like, hey, you have time tomorrow morning? I said, sure. So that's why you're hearing me right now. And he's going to help me a little bit with the sales side and finding businesses to reach out to, which I think is going to be sick. I have written down here my mental state with my knee problems, current roadmap. So what's going on with my athletic career right now, is I've had knee injuries during both of the marathons that I've run, and that is a huge problem. So I had a really bad IT band injury, not really, really bad, but pretty bad IT band injury from my 46-mile race. And unfortunately, that led me to not be able to run the 100-miler in 2 weeks. So in 12 days or 11 days, my buddy is going to run a 100-miler, and I'm just going to have to be there to support him, and I'm not going to be able to be a part of the actual race, which sucks. So, yeah, it hurts. It hurts my soul a lot to not be able to be there, but we do what we have to do, and healing comes in its own time. I'm working with a chiropractic team right now and 2 personal trainers, a run coach and a personal trainer, to help rehabilitate my body and keep myself fit and stretching and things like that, trying the best that I can to to do what they tell me to do, to get the best results possible. So that's what we're doing. I'm trying to rehab as quickly as I can. I have another marathon coming up in December. Then I'm trying to I'm trying to do a 3:30, 3:40 marathon in April. And then between April and September, the goal is to qualify for the Boston, which is 2:59.59. But in order to actually get pulled in the lotto, I should probably do a 2:45 or 2:50. So that's what we're aiming for by September of next year, to do the Boston Marathon by 2026. Which is the goal, which is probably going to be about a year, just under a year from when you're seeing this, because it's about 2 years from now, which is crazy to think about, that I'm actually planning that far in advance. But some point between now and then, I need to do a 100-miler. I have to. I need that on my track record. I need that on my resume, and I just want to do it and push myself so bad. Anyway, that's what's going on. The mental state has been super, super tough. I struggled a lot. I struggled a lot with not being able to run for 2 weeks at a time, doing less than a mile a day, not even, sometimes not running at all for multiple days, all because if I did more than 2 or 3 miles, my knee would start hurting really bad. It sucks. It really sucks. And not being able to train takes a huge toll on your mental, It really, really made me feel sad. And I had taken some identity in the running. I had taken an identity in the running, in being a runner, and being the person that was running a 100-miler, and the big hurdle I had to overcome in order to be okay calling out of the race was the identity that I took in running 100 miles. I felt like I had failed as a human being by dropping out of that race and by quitting and just redefining what quitting meant for me, because it wasn't quitting, it was only a postponement for the sake of my long-term health, because although the feat would be impressive, it is not worth, being injured for 2 years or a year or my life. I don't know what it looked like. I don't know what would have happened, but it wasn't worth risking either way, regardless. So that's what's going on with my athletic. Something really cool that happened last week. I was in Kansas City filming with Public Square. It was my very first event. It was my very first event filming with Public Square. The team was amazing, but something that struck me was I was getting up early and staying up late every single day to edit into the night and get up early to work in the morning, get a workout in before I actually went to the job that day. And I got a text from a buddy of mine who is significantly more successful than I am, like significantly. And he said, "Man, seeing you so motivated gets me fired up. And seeing you locked in. I think it was seeing you locked in gets me so fired up and motivates me so much." And that meant a lot to me because he's a lot more motivated. I'm sorry, not motivated. He's a lot more successful than I am. He owns a studio in Fort Myers, or where is it? It's down south a little bit, down south in Southwest Florida. He owns a studio down there, and him and his wife own a really big media company for weddings. And him texting me that, it just meant so much because I don't see myself as that person, but the fact that I can do what I can do and it motivates other people to be better is incredible. So this episode's getting a little long-winded. We're at 21 minutes now, so that's ultimately what's going on. We got the relationship stuff that's happening. This is the personal stuff, life, about to try to move in December. It's October right now, so trying to move the next month and a half, 2 months. Job opportunity, the work that I'm doing with Chris, training, that text that inspired me a lot from Cohen. So that's what's going on right now in my personal life. Again, the goal of this is really just to document what I'm thinking, what I'm feeling, what's happening in my life. Not because I need people to know what's going on right now, but because I believe that in 10, 15, 20 years, this will be valuable. It would be interesting to see Musk or Bezos or Jobs, being like, hey, this is what I'm feeling right now. This is what I'm doing. And so I believe that I will be successful to a major degree. And so I want to document what I'm thinking and feeling and the thoughts that I go through in the short term, even in the long term, I guess, but in the short term, like what goes on day to day to day. And by documenting that weekly, there are periods of time where I'm really sad for a couple of days, or I'm really happy, or I'm really upset, or I'm really, I want to make sure that all of that is seen, because I don't feel like a lot of people do a good enough job of just authentically documenting what's going on in their life. And so this is going to be my way of doing that. So I hope you guys enjoyed. I don't know where my life is going to be in a year from now, because you're watching this a year from when I'm recording it. And so things could be totally different. But the best way to support this show is to just leave feedback and let me know that you are liking it. Let me know what you thought of the episode. That is the best way that I can get feedback to in a year from now. When I see it, I can modify the next episodes to better reflect your feedback and what you like and what you don't like. So leave feedback on the episode. It would mean the absolute world to me. And I'll see you guys next week, or a year and a week from now. But yeah, I'll see you guys next week. Thank you guys for listening. I hope that this is valuable in general. All right. See you on the next one.